Airbnb and Turo, they're the same, and they can make you millions of dollars the same exact way. This video is going to show you the 4 ways that Turo and Airbnb are nearly identical, so that way you can take what you know in one space and apply it to the other and have an immediate advantage over your competition. I've been coaching Airbnb for over 6 years. And now I have some really big students who are making millions of dollars a year, and they're adding cars to Turo. And I'm coaching them on how to run their Turo businesses as well. And in my time coaching my friends and students in the Turo market, I've discovered some crazy similarities. My videos move fast, so please like this video in advance and subscribe for more awesome content. Similarity number 1 is that Turo and Airbnb both sell on a novelty factor. Let me give you examples on both sides. Airbnb has something called categories. They're really doubling down on this. They're showing castles and tree houses and teepees and just wild places to stay. Airbnb is pushing deeper and deeper into novelty because it's how they can compete against hotels. It's how they can compete against VRBO, Booking.com, other places that are just based on commoditization of rentals. That's it. Airbnb wants to be unique, so they're pushing categories. Now, how many of you used Turo back when Tesla was kind of a new thing? Remember how much money a Model 3 would make? Remember how that was over $300 a day to rent just a regular Tesla? People want to pay for the unique experience of driving a car that they haven't bought yet. Maybe they're considering buying that car. So because of the use case of Turo, where somebody could rent a car before they buy it and take it for an extended test drive, kind of get 2 birds with 1 stone, people want novelty. People want to rent the cool car that they can't afford while they're on vacation, and people love cars that just aren't practical in regular everyday life. And that's why Jeeps do so good on Turo. So do Range Rovers, so do Teslas, case in point. And that brings in similarity number 2. It's not just market research that is the same, but revenue management as well. Let's dive in. When you do market research to find out what car you want to put on Turo, or what property you want to put on Airbnb, you can look at your competition. The dashboard for both are nearly identical. You're going to have a calendar that shows availability of either the car or the home. And when a car or home is not available, the calendar's grayed out. You can see a car, its daily prices, and when it's being used. You can see a house and its prices and when it's being used. You can find out which cars are popular, you can find out what they're charging, and you can reverse engineer what people are making. And this type of research is the beginning of revenue management. And what I mean is your prices need to change. You cannot have the same price every single day because cars and homes are both worth different amounts of money every single day based on supply and demand. The cool thing in the Turo space is nobody changes their prices nearly enough to maximize their bookings. A lot of people have the same exact mentality that homeowners used to have in Airbnb 6 years ago, which is that my price is my price and I'm not going to lower my price based on principle. My home is worth way too much to lower my price. A lot of people with cars do the same thing. I sat in on a way cool podcast in Vegas, and there's a guy who does Turo that we talked on the back end. And he's like, you know what, you can pay your note in like 6 days. And if you get 8 or 9 days a month rented out, you're making really good profit. He didn't want to change his prices to get to 20 days. And he told me he prefers not to change his prices to get 20 days of booking on the same car. He'd rather just take the 9 days of the month. So a lot of people still have this idea that dropping your prices on Turo isn't worth it. Or people don't know that they can and what effect this can have on their bottom line. If you are a Turo host, watch my pricing strategy videos for Airbnb and you'll learn how to run your Turo pricing strategy by copying my Airbnb education. It's literally the same thing. Absent of a couple features that Airbnb has that you can't copy, it's the same thing. And this leads us to number 3, that Turo and Airbnb as products are the same, much like an airline is the same in the way that they have to sell off their inventory following a best practice called contribution margin. Contribution margin dictates that your inventory disappears when it becomes past inventory. Hotels, Airbnb, airlines, car rental companies, special events, music festivals, all of these types of products disappear when the day is gone. See, if you have availability for November 10th and you don't sell November 10th, by November 11th, you can't sell it. At a grocery store, if you have a best buy date on some produce and you're trying to sell it by November 10th and you can't sell it, you can put a half off sticker and maybe sell it over the next few days. You have a second shot to sell that until it ultimately expires and is unsellable again. You can do the same thing with technology, anything retail, you can just drop the price and that product exists forever until it clears the shelf. But Turo and Airbnb don't work like that. If you miss your price mark and you miss the date deadline, you lose your inventory. Contribution margin also states something unique for this industry as well, much like an airline. The cost to run your business is going to be largely the same whether or not you sell your inventory. Same thing with a music festival, right? If you sell a ticket for a music festival, or you sell your rental on Airbnb, or you sell your rental on Turo, your car note is still going to be the same. Your insurance cost is still going to be roughly the same. Your electricity is still going to be roughly the same. There are incremental costs that come in, but they're small compared to the rest of the business model. Turo is not as extreme as a music festival. Airbnb is not as extreme as a festival as well, where the costs are almost identical just to exist, and whether or not you sell tickets, the cost to run is exactly the same. See, Airbnb has small incremental costs, like the cost of housekeeping or the cost of consumables like shampoo and stuff like that. People who run the AC too much will increase the electric bill a little bit. But if your mortgage is $2,500 and your insurances are a couple $100 because you have a short-term rental insurance and you have softwares that you pay monthly subscriptions and you have all this stuff, your core cost could be $3,000 whether or not you sell a single day. And you have a cleaning fee on Airbnb, which helps you identify a key incremental cost for the industry. So that way when anybody books, they'll pay an extra $50. Or if you want to become a meme online, you can charge $300 or $400 as a cleaning fee, and you can make everybody so upset they probably won't even book your Airbnb because you have a runaway cost and you are too expensive for people to book your property now. This is something that people are really mad about right now with Airbnb, and it's in the news all over the place. Excessive fees. Turo, just the same. You have incremental costs as well that are outside of the cost of your insurance and your car payment. You have costs to turn over a car, which is never going to be $300 unless somebody throws up in the back seat and smokes a bunch of weed in your car and maybe even scrapes a headrest, something like that, which decommissions your vehicle, takes it out of your fleet, and you're going to have to invoke an insurance claim through Turo to get paid for that stuff. Airbnb also works the same way with resolutions and getting paid for insurances. Airbnb has something called Air Cover, Turo has their own insurances, and you invoke through them. Where Turo and Airbnb are different here is you choose how much coverage you want from Turo based on what percentage of a fee you let Turo take. Airbnb has their fee, it never changes. So you can't upgrade or downgrade your insurances through Airbnb, but Airbnb will fight you tooth and nail to not pay you on resolution sometimes. Insurances, they're tough either way. Moral of the story, study contribution margin. Do not be too proud on price, and be aware of the market forces that govern supply and demand, and be willing to meet the market so you can nail price every time and not lose past inventory. And number 4 may seem so obvious that you go, aha, duh, of course, once you hear it. They are both softwares governed by an algorithm, and they will choose whether or not you get presence on their platform based on ranking and your performance. Airbnb and Turo both care that you jam reservations through their system enough that they're making money off of your fleet or off of your properties. The more you change your prices to get booked all the time, the more that your car or your apartment or home will be top of list. The better your photos are on either side, the more you'll be top of list. The more people engage with your profiles, the more you'll be top of list. The higher your reviews, the more you'll be top of list, which increases your bottom line by having better ranking on both. We are in a phase where Turo is more new than Airbnb as far as popularity goes, so a lot of this stuff is easier on Turo because there's less people doing things right. So if you're an Airbnb host and you want to do what you're great at somewhere else, get on Turo. If you're on Turo and you want to get better at it, watch my videos on Airbnb as far as ranking and pricing strategy goes, and just apply them right to Turo. I will do Turo specific videos down the road, but for now, there's a lot on this channel that can teach you about your own industry. And if you're making a lot of money right now, like more than $1 million per year on Airbnb, and you're considering adding things like Turo or expanding your business on Airbnb, I launched a beta version of my Mastermind, and you can join that. The seats are very limited on round 1 of the Mastermind, so that way I can work with people in the Mastermind one-on-one at a deep level and find out what people's unique needs are outside of what I'm predicting they are. As I run this Mastermind, I want to just drive it home for everybody in a big way. So I want to work with you hand in hand and find out where your challenges are unique enough that I did not predict what I would need to teach you in the Mastermind. Because as I build this thing out, it's going to be bigger than I even think it's going to be, and I need to work with you to keep making it. So join the beta of the Mastermind if you are a big hitter, and work with me a little bit. It'll be fun. But if you don't make $1 million a year yet, you can learn for free right here on this YouTube channel. That's how I did it, for free. I didn't have a YouTube channel to watch, but I still did it for free. And that's why I'm teaching you right here to do it for free, build your business, make a ton of money, have some fun, and join my free Facebook group, The Hosts of Airbnb Automated. That way you can ask other awesome people questions and get more of a consensus answer, because sometimes me telling you what to do may not be good enough. You might want 10 hosts to agree or disagree, and The Hosts of Airbnb Automated is a great free group for you to do that. Until the next video, thank you so much for your time. As always, guys, I love making these videos for you, and as always, I'll see you on the other side.